Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through an upper dynamic workout. So my variation for this 3-week wave is a camber bar bench press, and this is the second week in the 3-week wave, so I have 80% of my 1 rep max in total. That's bar plus band tension. Now, unfortunately, I have been experiencing a bit of pain in my shoulders and elbows. It was actually really bad the few days before this workout. After my upper max workout, I did some really heavy skull crushers, which I said at the time gave me a bit of elbow trouble, and then my shoulders felt awful. I actually think on the lower max, when I squatted, I torqued my elbows round and it made it much worse. So I wasn't quite as snappy on those dynamics as I would have liked to have been. And throughout the rest of this workout, I had to do really light accessories, just trying to get blood flow into the muscle. The main thing is I want to feel good and be able to complete the rest of the cycle, the main 3rd week of the cycle, which is the heaviest of my weeks, next week, and then I get to deload after that. Now, if that doesn't work, if after this workout I have terrible pain, I'm just going to have to deload next week and the week after for upper body, take a double upper body deload to try and help rehabilitate my shoulders and elbows. And I'll just do the main next week for lower, which is unaffected by it. But that was a little bit annoying. I am feeling so much better after doing this workout. The pain of not doing anything and just sitting around actually was so much worse than how I feel having worked out and got blood to the muscles. So the first accessory here that I did that was light was rope tricep extensions. And as you can see here, I decided to grind out a few extra reps overhead because I'm a bit stronger in that position. It's just a good way of upping the intensity and grinding out a few extra reps. So I was happy with those. They actually hit the triceps very effectively and, like I said, achieved the aim of getting blood into the muscles. It definitely pumped up the triceps. So the next accessory here, I decided to do dumbbell rows, because with dumbbells, you can move wherever you want. Like in a barbell, your hands are fixed on the barbell, but with dumbbells, you can move them into the most comfortable position, which when you're dealing with pain like I am, that is going to be optimal, to just move it to where the pain is the least. So I only used 30 kilo dumbbells here, which is very light for me. I think I got 2 sets of 30. This massively pumped up my upper back, my traps, but that is because the angle of my torso is quite high. I'm not leaning over that far, so it prioritizes the traps way more than the lats. But it also pumped up my rear delts loads, and I think that's one of the things that has made my shoulders feel much better. Again, it's getting blood flow to the muscles. So I am not a rehabilitation specialist by any means, but basic healing occurs when red blood cells get to an area. It's one of the reasons why people get lower back injuries very commonly, because it has very poor blood supply, and that's the same with a lot of connective tissue. So getting blood in by doing pump work is a large part of rehab. Now, beyond that, do not take my advice about rehabilitation. Obviously, if you are injured, go and seek a proper specialist. But that is basically what I did here, was just try and get a load of blood into my muscles. And I am feeling much better at the time of recording. It's only a few hours later. It's only been 3 hours. So I've yet to see the longer term impacts. And I'm just hoping I feel great over tomorrow and the next day. And then it's my upper max workout back on Monday. So the next accessory here was chest presses. 200 pounds might sound quite heavy, but I've gone up to 280 pounds on these. And I thought I was going to get somewhere in the range of 20 to 25 reps for 2 sets. That's what I did on my deload week at this weight. But I got a set of 20 on the first set. My chest pumped really quickly. And then on this second set, I think I only got a set of 12. So you can see here, I sort of don't know what's going on, and I was very disappointed with that. I think what had happened is just the general wear and tear of my upper body like I've explained throughout this video, has impacted my strength, but also because my triceps in particular are what has been strained so much, they do normally assist to lock out on the chest press, and instead I found that pumped up the chest way more today than usual, and I think it's because the chest had to do all of the work. So that is something that I surmise led to the massive strength drop off in the second set, but we'll never know. It doesn't matter. It got some blood into the chest. It was still doing work. Like when you are experiencing an injury, particularly a minor injury like I am, I'm just sort of experiencing ambient pain in my shoulder and elbow. It's like 3 out of 10 on the scale. Nothing has particularly happened. Like I've not had some massive pop and torn my bicep or tricep or anything. I definitely believe in still working out, and you should be in the gym throughout your rehabilitation process. That is different to like when you're sick. If you're ill, the most optimal thing for you to do might be to rest completely, but when you have injuries, getting into the gym and at least doing something is one, going to help you maintain the strength that you've built. For people who get injured and then take like 10 weeks off, they lose all of their strength, whereas if they just stay and even do light stuff in the gym, it helps maintain it. But two, it should assist in your rehabilitation. So my next accessory there was side laterals. I'd normally do loo raises, but I decided to just stick with a comfortable range of motion for my shoulders, which is why I was just doing those lateral raises. I went light with the 10 kilo dumbbells, and I think I got sets of 25 there. Pumped up the shoulders a lot, and my shoulders are feeling really good after doing those. They felt really good at the time as well. Then the next accessory here, I decided to do like pronated overhand grip dumbbell curls, sticking with the 10 kilo dumbbells. So this is like really, really light for me. But I found that these targeted like the top of my forearms as well, and really felt where I was experiencing pain in my bicep tendon at the front of my elbow. I was sort of experiencing pain everywhere, to be honest, at the back of my elbow with my tricep and at the front with like my bicep tendons running all the way up into where the bicep inserts at the top near the shoulder. It was just generally, I was experiencing a load of aches and pains, sort of like I once got flu terribly bad and all of my joints really ached. It sort of felt like that. So I decided to do these reverse grip just because they prioritize like the forearms as well a bit. And this felt fantastic. I managed to pump up that joint massively. And again, my arms and everything are feeling much better, but we'll see what that is going to be like longer term going forward. I really hope that they do feel like that. So the final accessory here, as always, is abs. Now, normally I would do 2 sets. Because my arms were feeling weak, I didn't want to do anything weighted where I was going to have to like hold a weight. So I decided to do an unweighted isometric like I had done earlier on in the week. I didn't quite go as low as I did at my max effort session at the beginning of the week, but I decided to try and just do 1 set of a really, really long hold. So I think I held in total for like over 1.5 minutes, something like nearing 2 minutes. And the main thing I was trying to work on here was breath control. So when you are powerlifting, your breath and being able to use your abs when you have strain, like breathing wise, is very important. That is what you're doing when you're bracing. But also, if you have a really long grind of a lift, like I've grinded for like 8 seconds, 9 seconds before, particularly on bench lifts. If you're not used to having that sort of strain on yourself, having to control your breathing whilst maintaining your ab and core stability to keep you rigid and make sure that you're not like caving in, that is very important in powerlifting. You almost always want a rigid torso for all of the bench, the squat and the deadlift. This is just a very good way of training that by putting yourself in an uncomfortable position and learning how to breathe whilst the abs are engaged. So that's why I did that there. So that is it for today's video and workout. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff, and have a great day.